There's something unavoidable that we have to talk about, and it's so esoteric that I almost don't want to talk about it. And honestly, it's not something I think about too often, even though I'm a part of this soul abilities world. It is what originates this energy. What is this unseen force that controls so many things? It has laws that we are trying to get familiar with when we get in the soul world. It is giving us information. It is helping guide us. It's helping guide the guides. Yet we are all a part of it. We are separate of it. We are a part of it. It is an originating entity. And if you're new to this soul abilities, soul skills world, it's something that has no truth to it because it's so individual for all of us. We have to discover it for ourselves. How important it is to you, that's up to you. For me, I have to be honest, I don't think about it that often. You naturally are very curious about the source. And that's what we're talking about this episode on NextGEN Medium, the podcast. Hey there, I am Sarah Nickerson. I discovered my psychic intuitive mediumship abilities a few years ago. Maybe they've always been a part of me, but it wasn't until a couple years ago that I was able to tap into it. And now my mission is to make you aware that this is possible for you too. Will you find your psychic abilities? I don't know. Will you find your mediumship abilities? I don't know. The point is to make you aware that this door is open for you. And it's up to you to get to that door, which means you got to try some things out. You got to find your truths. So that is my mission. My mission is also to maybe hold your hand, give you some direction to get to that door, help you cross the threshold, and send you on your way to your soul journey, whatever that may be. I am here as a partner for your soul journey. And one thing we have to talk about that can't be ignored is what is in control of this whole soul realm. It's hard because you have a lot of control. And when you work with this unseen influence, energy, it wants to guide you towards your higher self and a higher self of living and being that actually is a part of this greater pool of energy that we all share. And the purpose is that this pool is a happy pool of energy, that we're all happy people in it, and that we are all here to serve each other and to maintain this happy pool energy. I keep saying pool, it's kind of weird. So there's this originating entity that we got to talk about, but it's so esoteric and it's so theoretical. There is no definition with this. You talk to one person, it's going to be different from another person. And another person, and another person. And it really is very individual. So, what is it? It's unavoidable. We gotta talk about it. What is it? I'm gonna tell you that I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not going to pretend to know either. Because the source is a relationship of my own that I develop with this higher influence of energy. Hi Fred, how you doing? It's my furnace. The fact of the matter is what source is to me is going to be different than what source is to you. Now, when I say source, there's a lot of names for this one entity. Some call it God, some call it the divine. I like to call it source because it's sort of not a religious term. But it's also not new agey sounding. I think it has sort of it seems like a term that doesn't go one way or another. It's sort of very straightforward. A term that I can use that states what I'm trying to imply, but also stay neutral in a world of spirituality. I think it brings a little bit of logic to this illogical realm. My truth for now is that I don't really know source. I really haven't explored source. And frankly, it's here to help me. And as long as I work with it and play by its rules, which for me are things that are very natural for me. It really doesn't take a lot of effort. As long as I have good intention, I think I'm always good with Source, and we work together in that way. But for now, I don't have this huge theoretical understanding of Source, and it really hasn't been important in my journey up till now. I will give you my truths of what I understand of Source. I also have to kind of go into the community of information that's out there of how other people view Source, what its responsibilities are, what my responsibilities are to it. I think one of my favorite quotes to kind of start off this conversation comes from Lao Tzu, and it says, "Those who know do not speak of it, and those who speak of it do not know." I think it's a great quote because I think it really speaks to, if you know what it is, do you really know how to talk about it? There's really no way that your truth can connect with someone else's truth when it comes to Source. Ultimately, your truth is not truth, because truth is a universal thing, right? When we say the word truth, we're talking about fact. And when it comes to this esoteric, theoretical Source, there's only one truth that matters, and it's yours. And I think a lot of people who come from religious backgrounds would feel an alignment with that understanding. With religion, there's so much definition of what the truth is that you are just being told what the truth is and imparted that that's really how it is. But when you come into the spiritual world, it's what you make of it. So when you try to explain what the Source is, like I'm trying to do right now, we can talk in sort of theoretical terms, but there is no truth to it other than what my truth is. But really, it's your truth. Wow. My soul experiences with the Source. Knowing it doesn't affect how I connect with spirit or how I live in the moment. Honestly, I don't think we need to put too much attention on it because being harmonious with it is just very natural. It's just what we do. If you are living happily, if your body is happy, if your mind and spirit are happy, then you are in tune with it and you can focus on doing your purpose and enjoying your life. And I think for that reason of I am pretty happy, I've got goals and I'm working to achieve those goals. And as long as I have good intention in what I do, I feel like I'm playing by the rules. Not that I really care about playing by the rules, but if I'm happy, like I'm down. And then, spirit responds with bringing more happiness because that's what I'm attracting. Part of those laws of Source that you kind of learn with time. But it really doesn't matter how I identify it, the fact that I'm working with it, that there's a partnership. I think that's really what you need to take from it. But really getting to know what Source is more of how it interacts with you. So knowing what it looks like, where it is, these questions that are fundamentally things we're curious about, really not a big deal. And I wouldn't worry about learning too much or trying to figure out what that is, because there's other things you could be putting your energy towards. That's just my thought. But we want to know, right? We're curious. And plenty of other people have their thoughts about it, the Source, the divine, God. So I really don't like names. I'm calling it the Source. But a lot of people talk about it in a lot of different ways. To me, the Source, it's weird, it's esoteric, it's theoretical, it's all-knowing, it's intelligent, it's a grand designer, it's all-encompassing. But what I think is important about spirituality is that it's not disconnected from you. You are a part of it. And when we look at God as sort of its classical meaning, God is separate from you. In the spiritual world, you are a part of God. And this is something theoretical in my own life that I've thought about for a long time, that I was convinced that there was no separation. I was convinced that we are a part of it and that it is a part of us. It's a higher being of us. We are all God we have a potential to be God-like, and that there is no separation. But here's how other people talk about it. Some say that Source is an infinite intelligence. The Source is unseen, otherworldly, and life-giving. It is a cosmic truth that holds, initiates, and attracts energy that we pick up and sense. Things happen, quote, through spirit, end quote, or the Source. Spirit is another term that people use. The Source is beyond the known and observable realm. What is God? What is Buddha? You see where I'm going with this? Not very definite. There's no physical evidence of the Source. But what is important about the Source is your connection to it and the energy it provides, the information it gives you. Some believe the Source has a plan for you to fulfill and jobs for us all to do. I found some great books that I referenced to help define the Source for you guys. And I'm just going to list them off, maybe some books to add to your library. And these are in my own personal library. Intuitive Studies, A Complete Course in Mediumship by Gordon Smith. Love that guy. Anatomy of the Spirit, The 7 Stages of Power and Healing by Carolyn Myss. Carolyn Myss is fantastic. I would recommend going to YouTube and checking out stuff that she does. She actually has been in this for so long. And it's really great to hear how she talks about things. And she actually uses God, angels, those kinds of words, which were off-putting for me at first. But once I could get beyond it, I can connect with the things she's saying by just dismissing the terms, translating them to my own terms. The 4 Purposes of Life, Finding Meaning and Direction in a Changing World by Dan Millman. That one's actually been beside my bed for a couple weeks. And So You Want to Be a Medium, A Down-to-Earth Guide by Rose Vanden Einden. And you can check out this list on my blog post for this particular topic at nextgenmedium.com. So these are literally all the books I own about psychic mediumship soul stuff. And really the 4 Purposes isn't really about soul abilities. It's more of a self-help, motivational, kind of self-reflective book. But it does touch on parallel spiritual stuff that Dan Millman has done with his other books. So I would recommend those books to you and use some of those books as quotes here that I talked about. Using these great books, I was able to curate a little more information about how to explain the Source. And some of this goes into spiritualist religion, which is as close to non-religious as I can get. But frankly, all religion touches upon a lot of these aspects anyway, and it's even universal if you have no idea what religion is. So here's some of the stuff that I wanted to bring forward when it comes to explaining the Source. A being, an entity, matter, consciousness, intelligence, planner, beyond material, the higher consciousness. These books that I've listed to you, this is how they wrap up the Source and understanding what it's about. When we work with Source, we are releasing its divine light into the world. It is a source of miracles and hope. It allows us to choose to live in harmony and wants us to trust in higher vibration. We must raise our consciousness in order to be in touch with the Source. It is believed that the Source created natural laws of the universe, which include 1. Law of love, 2. Law of the mind, 3. Law of vibration, 4. Law of attraction, 5. Law of cause and effect, 6. Law of balance, 7. Law of use. It is with these laws that we are able to work with the Source and raise consciousness. The Source has a plan for you to fulfill and jobs for us all to do. So these books I listed, this information I just gave you came from those books, and that's what other people, how they're trying to explain the Source. With some basic information, the very basics. Like I said, my truth so far, this is kind of icky for me because this is such a personal topic, how you define the Source. The divine, God, spirit. And this, like a lot of other things in your soul journey, are going to be for you to define that nobody else can give you the truth of. This is your truth. My truth, my own experience is that it works with me in different ways. It helps me personally with my intuition. helping me on my own journey. It works with me to help others on their journey through my psychic intuition and mediumship skills. Before my spiritual awakening, I already came to some conclusions that have carried over and remain true to me still. Again, my understanding doesn't have to be yours, but this is where I'm going here. The source cannot be institutionalized. It is all-inclusive in the power it shares to everybody equally. There is no hierarchy. There is no single truth. The source is not to be owned by an entity. We are all a part of it. We all share it. Also, the source is accessible and a part of us all. We are all connected to it. It is not a separate entity. It is not looking down at us and telling us that we're wrong and that we do things wrong and we're going to hell. That is my truth about source. It is also accessible in that you and I and your neighbor down the road, we can all tap into it. And tapping into our higher selves, being able to do the soul senses and soul abilities to recognize these things, to work with your intuition. These are all ways that we connect to our higher selves, which is closer to that source of energy. We also have free will from source. This is a part of the soul world's free will and working with that. So additionally, I've learned things about source after my realization of my soul abilities because of my spiritual awakening. And it goes a little something like this. Working with source requires teamwork. It's a partnership. There's a give and take and listening and doing. And for me, I want to create a foundation of higher consciousness awareness for you to help you find your inner power through your soul abilities, as well as for myself. So it takes partnership. There's give, there's take, there's listening, there's doing. Another thing post my awakening was communicating with source requires raising your consciousness, which to me, when I hear that phrase, raising your consciousness, it's more or less just giving your focus and attention and putting it where your higher self is and understanding how it comes in and how you sense it and how it influences. To me, that's what people are talking about when people say raising your consciousness, is just focusing and attention. That's all it is to me. And lastly, with my awakening, it became more of an understanding than I'd ever thought about it before. Before the awakening, God really wasn't a thing for me. I was more or less thinking about laws of how this energy works. It's still something that is important to me, is to understanding the laws. But ultimately, nobody can know its full truth, and everybody can't know its full truth. It can't be a universal knowing, because then there's power somewhere that is unequal. If one person knows it and another person doesn't. We all know a truth. We all have equal opportunity to know truth. If we knew the full truth as one entity being, if I knew the full truth, I believe that I would be beyond a human. I don't think a human being, see, this is where we're getting real theoretical. I don't think a human being can know full truth, because we would have to understand the world in a very, very different way. And I think it's just so beyond our understanding. And it makes me think about those Buddhist monks that you hear these stories about Buddhist monks that just reach this plane of higher consciousness, are meditating, and they get to this place of consciousness that their body basically disappears. Yeah, you got to look that one up, because this is crazy town talk. But and I think it's with this kind of information, it makes me feel like humans can only understand so much because we're so limited in knowing what possibilities are. I think if we knew the full scope, we would not be in human bodies. I think you have to be out of the human body in order to really understand. Okay, I'm going to stop that now. So here's the big one when it came to post-awareness. Acknowledging the source when it wants my attention, noticing and responding to synchronicities, to premonitions, doing readings and sittings, not just having my attention of it, but also serving it, doing readings and sittings, and creating these podcasts and the vlogs and the blog stuff, all this has led to a much more harmonious and happier life for me. I have less doubt and more confidence than ever before in my own personal being. And I'm not talking about confidence in my soul abilities. I'm talking about just my confidence in general. I feel so comfortable in myself. There are times when maybe in the past I would have taken a step back to kind of look at myself objectively and say, all right, should you be embarrassed about how you're acting right now or what you're saying? But it's gotten to the point where that doesn't even matter to me anymore, because if I can speak my truth and have my good intention, I'm solid. I'm solid. And I think this has led to, maybe it's the chicken or the egg. Has that led me to be more confident, or has my confidence led me to feel just not even care what other people think? I don't know, but after my awakening, I've noticed that has just been exponential in its effect on my confidence. I lead my life with less inner conflict now. My life is so much less, it's more efficient because I have so much less inner conflict to deal with. That inner conflict is less of a problem because I feel like when I trust in source's cues, be it through my intuition, my psychic stuff, my mediumship stuff, I let it carry me, or I build momentum for it to meet me halfway. My path is less restricted. I work less. I enjoy the ride. I live a more peaceful life. Priorities are different. And there's another big one, is that I understand that the source may need me to change how I serve. Whatever it needs and however I need to do that is fine. I know I'll be in good hands. So when change comes, there's a surrendering I've been able to do where I go with the flow because I have trust in where I'm going, wherever it may be. Even if it feels like a few steps back, there's trust that I have gained that makes me feel comforted, but also in control. It's funny that I say surrender, but also control in the same kind of idea. But you're surrendering, but you're still in control. Oh boy. What I love about Source and what I hate about Source is there's no right or wrong. It's so individual. It's how you perceive it and how I perceive it, how your mom perceives it, how Bob Dylan perceives it. Nobody knows, but everybody knows. I'm glad I could make things clear. I'm glad I could clear this up for you. So when I say that I don't know a lot about Source or I don't care about Source, it's obvious that I do think about Source, but it really isn't on the forefront of my mind when I am doing readings or sittings or meditation. I am focused on the information it's giving me. That's my job. That's my job, is to take in the information and interpret it and communicate it. How Source wants to do that for me is a mystery to me. How it works, the mechanics, what it is, not important to me. Could be important to you. I understand why. There's a lot of curiosity there. But in the end, there is a meaning of life to behold, and that's the thing for you to explore. We're all curious about it, and it really takes your journey in order for you to understand what it is. And maybe these little things that I've put in here can help clarify what it could be for you and what holds to your truth. Don't let my things that I say about this influence, but maybe keep it in the back of your mind as something that could be possible. Understanding the Source builds the awareness of your ultimate communicator. And now it's time to learn its language. Source's signs are a way that it communicates to you in understanding synchronicities. Okay, there you go. The Source, the divine, God, what else do we call it? Spirit. I didn't say spirit a lot, but you will see that when you come across this stuff in other websites and from other people. And I know that's what's happening. Don't think that I don't know that there's other people that you go to. It's fine. But you know what? I bet there's a lot of trust you've developed with me, and appreciate my honesty. And if there's something I can do for you, we can make it happen. If you want to know your abilities with a little soul work, and connect with me to get a session going. We can do a development session. Go to my website, nextgenmedium.com, and book that. You can actually look at my calendar, flip through it, see what works good for you. Got lots more resources for you. I got a blog and more podcast episodes, obviously. I also have my YouTube channel where I like to give you more information in a different kind of way. But go to my blog, nextgenmedium.com, to find out more stuff and to get yourself going on understanding the source for yourself, which takes getting connected with your soul abilities, your soul senses, your intuition, stuff like that. And I can help you. I can also do that with a development session. So book that and we'll get you going. Also go to my website so you can add your name to get emails about upcoming NextGen Medium stuff, educational stuff, contests for free readings, and some big stuff coming in the future. As always, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest for all your social media liking needs. That does it for this episode of NextGen Medium, the podcast. Be safe, and I'll chat with you later. See you, bye.